So, moin Leute, hier mal wieder ein ARISS Schulkontakt mit einer High School im Süden von Quebec, Kanada, also in der Nähe von Montreal, Toronto, Richtung New York, da in der Ecke, also ziemlich genau westlich von uns, über den Atlantik drüber. Am Mikrofon war mal wieder Chris Hadfield und hier hört ihr den Audio-Downlink der ISS. Diesmal hat es sehr gut geklappt, der Anfang ist nicht drauf, aber bis zum Ende eine recht gute Qualität. Ich wünsche euch viel Spaß und tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal.
Part of astronaut collection was dipped us inside a beach ball. Didn't tell us how long we'd be in there to make sure we weren't claustrophobic. But I have been ill. Almost all astronauts feel sick when they first get to space, like getting off a ride at the fair. But you get used to it after a while. And I haven't been seriously ill, no. Over.
4 Grad Innovation.
Lenny, I would love to. And who wouldn't? I mean, you only live once. Why not have a magnificent experience? Yeah, I'd love to. I'm probably too old now, but you're the right age. You can go to the moon in your lifetime if you set your mind to it. Over.
Die anderen können wir natürlich nicht hören. Okay.
Hi, we're close enough to the Earth that they're just a little bit clearer. The moon looks different because we keep seeing it going behind the world. It really looks like a ball. You obviously, it's a ball, just like the Earth is a ball. But the other planets, we're not much closer, so they're just slightly clearer. Over.
So, das hinterher genau einmal übersetzen. So ein bisschen. Und die Fragen dann, die habe ich als Text. Alle.
The properties don't change, but most of them don't function here. There's no convection because heat can't rise when there's no weight. Conduction, of course, nothing's touching anything. So inside the station there's conduction, but outside, of course, all we have is radiation. That's how the sun's heat gets to the Earth, is purely by radiation, and that's the only physical property that is affecting the space station from space, really, is radiation. Over. For an inch, we can reach around with our nose. There's a thing to clear your ears, like a soft pad. You can scratch your nose on that pad. Normally we just jam our nose in it to clear our ears. But sickness or vomiting, we try and would avoid it, of course. But if it happened, you would just put your head as far down as you could, and if you sneezed or had to throw up, you just try and get it down into your chest area so that it didn't get onto the visor, and so it didn't get where you're going to have to breathe it afterwards. It'd be horrible. We try and avoid it. But if it happens, it happens. Over.
Jetzt haben wir das auf dem Schirm, weil es über 20 Grad ist.
However, there's lots of odd things, of course, but none of them are unexplained. The whole world looks odd. I mean, if you've looked at any of the pictures I've sent down, the things you see, the world is just so bizarre and changing. It's beautiful in its oddness. But just because you don't immediately understand something doesn't mean that it's magical or mystical or it came from another planet or something. Mostly it's probably just our own ignorance. So we've never seen anything like, UFOs or anything. That's all just movies. But the world itself is odd and wonderful to start to explain. Over. Thomas, we have a pretty good satellite link for very slow internet. So I could watch very slow internet, and I could do email. Of course, I could use the ham radio like I'm talking to you. But the main thing is they can send packet mail up. So I was just watching a hockey game before I talked to you. I was exercising, and while I exercise, I watch hockey. So I was just watching the Leafs beat the Habs. And so I watch some things on movies while I'm that have been shipped up and put in the memory of the computers on board. And we also have sort of a telephone that sometimes, sort of like Skype, that I could call my family. So it's not bad. It's like being on a long, distant trip. Over.
20 Watt macht der oben. Good.
There's no freedom. The food is all shipped up here, so we eat the food that's on board, but we're not restricted. We can eat anything we want that's on board, just like when you go to a local convenience store, you're not restricted except by the choice that's there on the shelf. It's the same for us. We have lots of food and drink. We eat well. We maintain our weight. The food's delicious. Over. Maddie, as the commander, I try and avoid the struggles. And often, if you work way in advance, the real-time struggles diminish. So for the past several years, I've worked with these crew members and our ground support team so that we worked all those out in advance. If I left it till now, there might be struggles. But we've worked out how we're going to deal with everything. We've simulated it, and we've talked about it. So it's extremely comfortable and respectful now, so that the struggles are virtually nil. Over. What inspired me were the first two people to walk on the moon. The night that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, I decided to become an astronaut. I started turning myself into an astronaut that day. And the most challenging issue is patience in the face of improbability. The odds were terrible. In fact, it was impossible. There were no Canadian astronauts. But I just kept working at it and thinking maybe someday. And maintaining patience, especially when the odds are against you, and still keeping at it, I think that is the most challenging thing in being an astronaut and in life. Over.
Mein Auto ist in der Werkstatt, sonst habe ich das Auto da stehen, womit was da eingebaut ist. Da habe ich, dann lasse ich auch nochmal den Rekorder laufen.
A better power source. We need a better power source. Right now we use solar power and fossil fuels. And not just on the space station, but on Earth too. We need a better source of power than fossil fuels and solar power. And that's what I'd like to see on space station, because then we could go to the moon or we could point at Mars and get going. We're just waiting on better engines. Over.
So kriminell, weil es jetzt irgendwann weg ist.
I have you loud and clear. Over.
Ja, hier haben wir auch schon Probleme. Italien, der ist ja schon noch...
Loud and clear. Over.
Kannst du nicht mit dem Funk?
Kann ich auch.
I have you loud and clear, and I also have McCrae High School loud and clear. Over.
Die hören den nicht mehr. Ja, ich brauche nur drücken, dann kann ich schon... Aber man funkt ja nicht.
The improvements I'd like to see on space station would be engines, better engine, better power source. Over.
Das geht aber im Norden von Italien.
Italy and McCrae School, thank you very much for the questions. It's a delight to talk to you from the space station. Best of luck to everybody. And I love the person that your school is named for and what he did. Over. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the questions, everyone. And have a look at the picture I took of Ottawa last night. Hope you like it. Bye-bye.